WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Tommy Lopez. The high-speed chase suspect is dead and a deputy is recovering after being shot this morning in Lowndes County. It was a pursuit that started in Webster County and went across 3 counties. Cars hit speeds well over 100 miles an hour. The suspect fired gunshots as he drove. Members of law enforcement tell us that more people could easily have been hurt from all of this. Our Joey Barnes has been following the incident since it happened.
WCBI cameras captured 45-year-old Pryor Spencer Bailey IV driving past the downtown Columbus exit on Highway 82 in a high-speed pursuit.
There was an incident that originated in Webster County and it ended here in Lowndes County with a shootout among 3 or 4 agencies, officers, and one suspect has been declared dead here at the scene.
The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation says Bailey was being pulled over on suspicion of DUI near Mathiston in a white Hyundai SUV on Monday morning. When law enforcement called for backup, investigators say he drove away. The pursuit went through Oktibbeha County and into Lowndes. Several law enforcement agencies were involved in the chase. MBI says a Lowndes County deputy threw out stop sticks near the Highway 50 exit on Highway 82 to a stop about 3 miles away. Investigators say Bailey got out of the vehicle. That's when he and law enforcement started shooting at each other. Lowndes County Coroner Greg Merchant describes what happens next.
We're waiting on the crime scene unit from Jackson to get here to process the scene. Mississippi Bureau of Investigation will be handling the on-scene investigation.
MBI says more than one weapon was found in or near the SUV Bailey was driving. The Starkville man was the only person in the vehicle involved in the chase.
Joey, thank you. Bailey's body will be taken to the state medical examiner's office in Pearl for an autopsy tomorrow. It's standard practice for MBI to investigate officer-involved shootings. Well, Deputy Kevin Forrester sustained a single gunshot wound to the leg during that gunfire. He's being treated at Baptist Memorial Hospital. He's listed in stable condition, and hospital officials say that his injuries are not life-threatening. Moments after he arrived at the hospital, fellow law enforcement officers began pouring into the emergency room to show their support. Some were from other counties, like Noxubee County Deputy Dontavia Smith. He says law enforcement officers are like family.
We took an oath to make a sacrifice of life in the line of duty. And so even though we may not always understand what's going on or the situation or the people that we deal with may not understand what we go through, we brothers. We brothers. And at the end of the day, I'm going to back that brother, black or white, regardless. Whether he in a brown car, blue car, red car, that's my brother.
At last report, Forrester was in good spirits with several friends and family members visiting. An attorney for the family of Ronnie Shumpert says that he's going to comply with the judge's order. It's to turn over information that the city of Tupelo has requested in a lawsuit filed over Shumpert's death. Carlos Moore said today he was delayed in providing the city with some of that information. He says it was because of a health issue involving his wife and alleged death threats that he received. Moore held a news conference this afternoon in Tupelo and was with members of the Shumpert family. He said that the civil case is moving forward in spite of last week's ruling.
There was a period of time in 2016 where I was not at full performance. I was not given 100% as I am known to do. And while I did answer the discovery, I did so late. And it is not the Shumpert's fault, or it's not the court's fault that I got the 5 death threats. I decided to challenge the governor about that state flag because it's very offensive to me.
Moore's deposition scheduled in late April. The civil case against the city is set for a December trial date. The Lee County grand jury declined to indict Tupelo officer Tyler Cook in the Shumpert shooting. To our weather tonight, Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson is in with us. Keith, clearing out tonight after those storms today.
Yeah, some storms still out there on radar, but overall the coverage is shrinking in size and scope. But this is our Off Insurance time lapse from Tupelo. Some storm clouds here on the horizon this evening. Looking back to the north right now, you can see this wall of thunderstorm activity north of Saltillo. This is producing some heavy rainfall, perhaps a little bit of small hail, and some pretty good downpours there. All of this is moving southeast, some additional blips as well. So the rain chance will continue as we go throughout the overnight hours. Low 60s tonight. We are looking at some 70s to low 80s tomorrow. Maybe a storm, better chances again Thursday. More in just a few minutes.
Keith, thank you. Discussions on funding state transportation have stalled in Mississippi. Lawmakers in Jackson cannot come to an agreement. Now there's going to be a special session to talk about it. House and Senate leaders couldn't agree on a bill to fund the Mississippi Department of Transportation. That deadline was 6 o'clock tonight. Leaders were talking about including an internet sales tax and sending current use tax money to road repairs. Lawmakers need to come to an agreement before July. That's when the next fiscal year begins. With Parker Wiseman's retirement from city politics, one thing's for sure. Starkville will have a new mayor after this year's election. Tonight, the three people vying for that job met with city voters. The Starkville Daily News sponsored a political forum tonight to let people find out where all of these candidates stand. Johnny Moore, Damian Poe, and Lynn Spruill are running for the city's top spot. They answered questions about future residential development, city infrastructure, and areas where they would like to see improvement. With no Republican or independent opposition, May 2nd Democratic primary could decide that race. In just over a month, voters will cast ballots in municipal primary elections. While candidates are gearing up for that big day, so are poll watchers. And they help ensure that there's transparency at the polls and everything is running smoothly. Some people in Oktibbeha County had a chance to learn more about that job during a recent training session. Our Quentin Smith has more.
Primary elections are just around the corner and polls are expected to be packed. Now, while many people will be standing in long lines trying to cast their ballots, there will be a special group of people present at the polls, observing and watching everything that's going on. They're called poll watchers.
If you have a poll watcher, then they can watch what's going on and make sure that your votes get counted appropriately.
A poll watcher is designated by a political party or candidate to watch and keep an eye out for any suspicious and fraudulent activity taking place at the polls. Their duties, however, is different from that of a poll worker.
Poll workers may not be adequately trained, and when they are not adequately trained, there are disparities, election disparities that occur.
Lydia Quarles is an attorney in Oktibbeha County. She's witnessed firsthand some of the questionable activities that can take place at the polls.
I represented 2 aldermen in our 4-year ago election that had to sue because there were election irregularities.
Now, in an effort to prevent things like this from happening again, Quarles put on a workshop teaching Oktibbeha County residents about the duties of being a poll watcher.
We're going to teach them about the idiosyncrasies of the voting machines that we have in Oktibbeha County. We're going to teach them about provisional ballots, which are also called affidavit ballots, and how they must be completed in order to be counted.
It's really important that poll watchers understand that they're not there to enforce the law. They're not there to interrupt the proceedings. They have a special role to play, and it really helps us, and it has helped us over the past 3 election cycles to be able to clean up, really, some of the errors that have been made in the past.
Quentin, thank you. Quarles says she hopes other cities and counties will host similar workshops in the future. Those primaries are May 2nd.
Active weather in the region today, maybe some more strong storms on Thursday. It's always good to have multiple ways to get watches and warnings. And because of that, we're programming weather radios this Wednesday afternoon, 4:30 to 6:30 at the Columbus Kroger. The full forecast is next.
Your first alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Some storms still showing up on our live Doppler radar right now from New Albany, where you had some hail earlier this afternoon, to Guntown, to areas near Marietta here in Tishomingo County. We do have some heavy downpours, perhaps a little bit of small hail, some thunder and lightning. The strongest storms this evening, at least over the last couple of hours, have been in northwestern Alabama. You can see the swath of hail that has fallen over the last hour. There has been a little bit detected by radar here, but no severe thunderstorm warnings in our viewing area right now. Certainly good news. Nothing like what we had earlier this afternoon when we had those quarter and golf ball sized hailstones falling. There are some additional blips back out to the west and southwest. And all of this is out ahead of a front that is moving on in. So we still have the risk for a little bit of rain as we go throughout the overnight hours here. The volume of strong storms is basically going to be very small. We don't really anticipate any more severe weather. And there could be some additional showers or thunder showers in the region tomorrow. But the overall rain chance tomorrow, just about 20%. Now look at this cloud. This is our Alpha Insurance time lapse from Columbus earlier this evening right there, looking off to the east towards Pickens County. If you look closely right there, that is a nice little rainbow showing on up with that thunder shower as was moving on through. The back side of it, we saw that sun come on in, and that gave us that nice rainbow right there. That was the view of it in New Hope. Thanks a lot for these great pictures. Nana Wyatt earlier this afternoon. Look at that hail right there falling in Winston County. The hail was falling. Same story in Noxapater, too. So we had hail down south, also across northeast Mississippi. Some spots didn't even see a storm today, but we had some active weather. And look at this wall cloud right there near the Tennessee state line near Walnut, Mississippi, with a tornado warning storm earlier today. So stay connected with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are streaming live right now on WCBI.com. We are in a stormy pattern. More storms Thursday, some of which can be severe. Same story late Sunday and Monday. Some of those can be severe as well. As we zoom back down to our viewing area, upper 60s, low 70s out there right now. Pretty warm out there across the entire region right now. There's the front coming on in. That's going to stall out in our area tomorrow, so there's a 20% chance for a shower, a thunder shower, 78 degrees, 83 Wednesday. Some spots may be up to about 85 here Wednesday. 70s Thursday, some of those storms could be strong to severe. And then the weekend's looking pretty nice, Tommy. We'll sandwich that in between another storm system on Monday.
Right, so we have some active weather, potentially severe weather today. Now we're looking at Thursday, potentially.
It's just a busy pattern, wave after wave of storms, just about every 2 to 3 days, and we'll just keep you updated.
Yeah, maybe early next week, too, you're saying now.
It will never end until June at this point.
Spring is definitely
spring storm season.
Yeah. All right, Keith, thank you very much. Hail State Hoops is 2 games away from a national title. We find out how they're feeling and who they'll face in the Final Four coming up tonight.
WCBI News at 10 with Tommy Lopez.
To our Health Talk with Baptist segment. March is National Kidney Month, and tonight Baptist is talking more about kidney disease.
Chronic kidney disease is damage to the kidneys that has been present for more than 3 months. According to the National Kidney Foundation, 26 million American adults have chronic kidney disease, and millions of others are at increased risk. Chronic kidney disease includes conditions that damage your kidneys and decrease their ability to keep you healthy. If kidney disease gets worse, waste can build to high levels in your blood and make you feel sick. You may develop complications like high blood pressure, anemia, or low blood count, weak bones, poor nutritional health, and nerve damage. Also, kidney disease increases your risk of having heart and blood vessel disease. These problems may happen slowly over a long period of time. Chronic kidney disease may be caused by diabetes, high blood pressure, and other disorders. It is often found when your doctor does simple blood tests to look at your renal function. He or she may also find signs of kidney disease when he looks at your urine studies. In your urine, there may be findings of things such as blood or protein. Sometimes bubbly or foamy urine can indicate protein in your urine. You should discuss this with your doctor. If needed, your doctor may then choose to do additional lab work or imaging of your kidneys. Join us next time for Health Talk with Baptist, where we will discuss who is at risk for chronic kidney disease.
Mail your topic suggestions to healthtalk@wcbi.com. Health Talk has been brought to you by Baptist Memorial Hospital Golden Triangle.
Coming up, Mississippi State finds out their foe in the first ever Final Four game. We'll have the latest on the matchup next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Robbie Donahoe.
The Dallas Dogs are taking the country by storm. MSU's win over Baylor was seen by tens of thousands of people across ESPN on Sunday. Now everyone talking about itty bitty. It's Morgan Williams. She had a career-high 41 points in that win over Baylor, and she did it with a heavy heart, as 3 years ago to the day on that weekend, her stepfather passed away. She didn't let that get her down as she put the Bulldogs on her back and took them to the Final Four.
We live for moments like this, to back-to-back lead changes, and we just know we got to have a run. Like, when they have a run, we got to make a run. We got to get stops. And we said once we make our run, we got to get stopped and keep running from there, and I feel like we did that.
People doubt her as a point guard just because how small she is, and they're not valid in that, and I love the way she plays, and she was just awesome tonight.
When you just see her going, it's just like, give her the ball. Just see we can't stop her, so just keep giving her the ball. So to see her have a game like this is amazing.
Well, I know tonight she got my assist up, so how many I have? I had 6. Yeah, 6.
That's a career high.
I'll take that. I'm super proud of her. She's my point guard. We together a whole another year. I don't know about them two down there, but I'm happy to have her.
Morgan rooms with Blair. She's at my house probably more than anybody on the team. So she's very, very special to Holly and I. And, you know, she's obviously very special to Blair. So it's, yeah, it's tough sometimes for kids, but I thought she bottled it up nicely today and really played to an audience of one.
And the national media has gotten a hold of Morgan Williams' story. ESPN anchor Scott Van Pelt tweeted this last night after the win to Morgan Williams on Twitter. "Congrats on tonight. I'm moved by your story. I lost my pop in college too. The love never goes away. I promise." Very, very cool. And in the wee hours of Monday morning, well, that's this morning, Mississippi State returned to Starkville, greeted by a couple hundred Bulldog fans with cowbells ringing. The Dallas Dogs were home following their win over Baylor in the Oklahoma City Regional Final. Head coach Vic Schaefer and players stuck around until about 2:30, 2:45 a.m., taking photos, signing autographs, giving out plenty of hugs and high fives to fans that stayed around. Morgan Williams became the most popular player with a line waiting to have her John Hancock. Despite being exhausted after a grueling night, Hail State Hoops was still all smiles.
These people here tonight, I mean, it's what makes Mississippi State so special. These fans, our student body, it's really a unique and special place, and I couldn't be more proud to be the coach here.
It's just amazing to have the best fans in the world, you know. It's almost 2 a.m. and they're out here supporting us.
I don't know, I still feel like I'm dreaming. I feel like I can sleep tonight, I don't know. Well, yeah, it's really exciting.
And the excitement needs to be ramped up because guess who the Bulldogs are playing in the Final Four? That's right, UConn, the team that beat them last year in the Sweet 16 by 60, roughed up Oregon to the tune of 38 points tonight, as the Huskies have now made it to 10 straight Final Fours, and MSU will get a crack at taking down the Huskies once more and shocking the world. If this happens, this would be an earth-shaking win for the Bulldogs. We believe they can do it. Your schedule for Friday in the Final Four, the Bulldogs will have the nightcap. 9 p.m. tip time between the Bulldogs and the Huskies on ESPN. Hey, we got 2 SEC teams in the women's Final Four, by the way. South Carolina defeated Florida State tonight, so it'll be the Gamecocks and the Cardinal. They'll have the early game at 6:30 p.m. on ESPN. So get pumped, get hyped. The women's Final Four is all set. And our men's Final Four is also set as well. Hey, speaking of South Carolina, crazy stuff. The men's and women's teams from South Carolina are both in the Final Fours. The men outlasted Florida 77-70 on Sunday night to make it into the men's Final Four. And, well, there's another Carolina